Hello folks, this is going to be the video that's going to go over example 4, the career trajectory of U.S. drug enforcement agents. And the first thing you do when you open your model up or start a new model, what you'll see is the start time is going to be 1, the end time is going to be 13. In the blue box in the bottom right, it says model settings. Let's go from, I want to go from 0. I don't want to go from 1. I'm going to go from 0 and I'm going to go to 500 days. We'll run this out. The next thing there, it says DT should be 1/2. DT is 1/4 here. I'm going to make it 1/2. DT is delta time. It's the amount of time you're going to simulate. So we're running this on months. We would run through all the calculations twice per month to figure out what the value for the month should be. So the smaller the DT, the more accurate you're going to be, but the more time you're going to do the calculations in the software. The time units are to be months, and months are set. So I'm going to go over and just click on my white space. And now I want you to carefully read the background, because when people were giving me the variable names in class, you guys were not off. You were adding things in that weren't in this description. And at the bottom, it says create the model in Stella 4 stocks. And they're described. And the first stock is new agents in training. So I'm going to go up and click on the stock variable up here in the top left hand. It's a box. I'm going to click and I'm going to type in new agents in training. And what I want to do is I want my box to be big enough to contain that variable name. So I'm going to grab on the handle and just make it larger. I'm going to click on where my variable name is and hit a return, and it will be in the middle of this box or the stock. And you can see I can grab onto that variable name. I can move it anywhere I want. Yours might start out in a different location, this depending on how your preferences were set up. And I'm just going to pull it down and put it into the middle. And I'm going to read down and just put all the stocks in here to start out with. And the next stock is agents on active duty. And I'd like my boxes or stocks to be the same size. So I'm going to double click on this stock. It's going to open this view over here on the right. And I'm going to go down and I'm going to click on the paintbrush. And it says that my width of that stock is 144 and my height is 119. So I will just go over and double click on the new one. And I think it was 144 and 119. And then I can hit a return. You can see because that got larger, my space sort of opened up also. And what I can do is I can grab these stocks. If I go down to the gray space and let go, you can see this sort of turns onto the canvas on which I can build my models. I'm going to try to line them up. I get that dotted line when they're lined up. I'm going to go back down and look at the next variable there, and it says corrupt agents. I'll put this on top, corrupt agents. And again, I want to go in and correct the size of that. I double click, I go to my paintbrush, 144 by 119. 144, I hit a tab, and 119. And I can square that up. And the last stock in here is going to be my injured agents in recovery. So I'm going to name it exactly that. I know I want it down below physically. Injured agents in recovery. And again, I'll double click on my box, click on the paintbrush, 144 by 119. So I have all the stocks. I want to just clean this up a little bit. Hit that return and just grab and move it to where I want. Maybe just give myself a little more room. So now I have all the stocks, and now I have to figure the flows. The only thing that can make a stock increase or decrease are going to be the flows. And it says the U.S. DEA recruits 1,000 new agents to join its ranks. So there's going to be an inflow. I'm going to click on my, my flow, and I'm going to come down, and on the left-hand side, I'm going to click and hold and slide until I'm on top of that stock I want to go into. And this is going to be, I believe it's new recruits. Okay, so I have that. Now I'm looking at this description, and it says these agents spend on average 12 months in training before being deployed to the field. I'm going to click on my rate, and I'm going to click on the new agents, and I'm going to go over to the active agents and deployed to the field. And that's what I've labeled my rate. I'm going to go in and click on that and hit a return just to square it up. I'm going back and looking. It says 2% of new agents wash out of their training. Wash out. So that means my new agents are washing out. They've got to flow out somewhere, right? So this is going to be agents washing out. So it's agents washing out. I'll put this on the left, and I'll just hit the return. So I've got agents washing out. I'm not too worried about the numbers right now. I want to get the physical structure of this. And so it's agents stay on the job an average of 20 years. So this is going to be, they're going to stay on the job 20 years. So I'm going to call this retirement. There. So I clicked on top of the stock and dragged to the right and left that out. I'll go a little bit slower on that. So they're going to wash out after 20 years. Every month, 0.1% of active agents are turned toward corruption to work with the drug cartels. So I will click on my flow. I'm going to click right on top of the stock I want to start with, and the stock I'm going to drag it, and make sure you're on top of it and let go. And this is going to be becoming corrupt. And I want a verb in there. I want some type of action so that I know what's going on. I'm going to hit a return. I'll throw this off to the left. In the previous, it said that the corrupt, so this is about the agents stay on the job an average of 20 years. However, if corrupted, they last on average only 15 years before being either convicted, killed, or retiring. I'm going to click on my rate, and what that's telling me is my corrupted agents, how they're leaving the system. I'm clicking right on top of that variable, holding my right mouse button down and sliding over to the right. And I'm going to use exactly what was described there. And it said convicted, killed, or retired, right? Or retiring. They did that after 15 years. I'm okay with that. And then as I read down, every month, 0.1% of active agents are turned. So that means they're flowing out. Oh, 1%. I've got this already. So I've just read what I already had. Every year, about 2% of agents are injured on the job. So I'm going to flow down, and I'm just going to write injured on the job. And I'll throw that to the right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this rate and slide it to the right, because I know these folks have to recover. And it says that they're injured for about 3 months and then they recover. So it's going to flow from here. So I'll click on this stock, slide up, make sure I'm on top of the other stock. And this is going to be recovering. So make it a verb. I'm going to slide that to the right, and I'm going to grab my rate and just slide it over to the right. So now I have all my stocks and flows. I'm going to go back and sort of reread this. They recruit 1,000 new agents to join its ranks. And I'm assuming that's 1,000 new agents are joining its ranks. And I'm going to go with every month. So I've clicked on that, and I want to put a variable in here now. I'm going to start writing equations, but I'm in this document or map setting. So you see this x squared down here? I'm going to click on that. And every variable that is not calculated or the equation is incorrect is going to have a triangle in it. They really show up in the stocks, but there's actually triangles in these rates also. So I've gone to my new recruits, and I have this on the left, and I'm going to type in, it's just going to be 1,000. I should be putting the units in here, but you can't put the units in for the rates. The software is going to figure that out automatically. And I'm just going to start tracing through these flows. So new agents and training. This needs an initial value. If I double click on this, it's going to open the window again. And if I look down at the bottom of that description, for example, 4, it says New agents in training start with 500 new agents. So I'm just going to type in 500. And the units I need to put in for the stock, and they're going to be people. I'll click OK. I think I might just run through and put all my stocks in because I'm reading down there. Agents on active duty start with 9,000 people. So I'll go to agents with active duty, double click, and I'm going to put 9,000 in. You'll notice the units are already set up for me. They're people. What this is a conserved flow, that once people enter the system, these stocks are connected by these rates. So any stock that's connected by a rate between two stocks, those units have to be the same in both stocks, because you can't, this couldn't turn from people into horses, right? It's always going to be people in all these stocks. So I put 9,000. The people are automatically populated in the stocks. And then if I look, if it's the injured agents, I think it says start with 0. I'm going to put a 0 in. And with the corrupt agents, I'm going to put a 0 in. So I've been typing 0 in, but there's a little calculator you could use, or it's going to be, I'll just type in 10 or 0. It's going to be 0 there. So I've got my stocks. Now I have to figure the flows, and there's a description here. So after training, the recruits are transferred to active duty agents. I'll look back up above. Oh, these agents. So this is just with each year. These agents spend on average 12 months. So I'm going to go and put a stock up here. So this is going to be, this is time and training. And it says 12 months. I'll double click on that and open it up. I'm going to put 12. And I will put months in for now. And I know one of the things that's going to happen is that this time and training is going to be collected to deploy to the field. It's how long the people are staying in the stock, and I will need information from there also. So there's a connector up here, this red arrow. I'm just going to click on that once, and I'm going to click and hold down and drag this to the deployed to the field. And then I know I need information from new agents in training. So I'm going to click and go from new agents in training to the deployed stock. I'm going to double click on this, and it's going to be the people in the stock divided by how long they're in that stock, which is 12 months. So for example, let's say I had 1,200 people in here. I'm dividing by 12 months. Each month, 100 people would be leaving. I've also just realized I've made a mistake, because when I read this, the background, it says each year. So it says that the new recruits should be 1,000, but that's each year. So this has to be 1,000 really divided by 12, right? So I can just go in and put divided by 12, or I could calculate this and figure out what it's going to be. And what I'm going to do is I would like that to be a constant, so that I just want it to be a constant. So I'm going to go down and open up Excel, and I'm going to say if I've got 1,000 people and it's 12 months, so if there's 1,000 people coming in each year, how many would be coming in each month? Because we're simulating the model in months. So this is just going to be the 1,000 divided by the 12. Can't do that in my head. It's going to be 83 people. So I'm just going to round and say that this will be 83. And this is people per month, so it's approximately 1,000. So now if I look down, they stay 12 months. 2% of the agents wash out of the training in the first 12 months. So I'm going to go up and add another converter. I'll click that in, and this is fraction washing out. And again, this is something I have to do. It says 2% of new agents are washing out. So if it's 2%, what I want to do is it's going to be 2% divided by 12. I'm going to go to my spreadsheet, and let's see, I can make this 0.2%, 02, hit a return, And this is the 12 months, and I've calculated this already. It's 0.0016. I think I'll go with that. 0.0016. And the units here, this is a fraction, so part of it has to be dimensionless. And I've just taken that and divided it by 12, which are months. So we know this is per month, or months. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my connector and connect from the new agents to the to my agents washing out, and then I'm going to just hit my option key on the Mac, and I'm going to go over and connect this, and I'm going to do this equation. So now I'm going to double click on this, and this is going to be the new agents times the fraction, and this fraction is just the reciprocal of an average delay time. So but the key is this is dimensionless per month being multiplied by agents, which is people. So it's people times dimensionless, which is just equal to people. And then this fraction was dimensionless divided by months, so that turns into people per month, so I know my units are correct. You can also see it says 5 invalid equations in my model here. If I had the units incorrect, it would tell me down here in this bottom right-hand corner that the units are incorrect and tell me I have a problem and should go check. So now I'm going to go back and start reading. Agents stay on the job on average 20 years. So I'm going to go to my converter, click down here, and this will be average time on job. And I've clicked that in. I'll go to my converter, and I will go to my retirements. And I know the stock is also going to go there, so I'm going to, my connector, I'll connect the connector, slide the retirements to the top. And the average time on the job, it says 20 years, but we're simulating this in months. So I have to convert 20 years to months, which would be, that would be 240 months. And I'm going to put in the units, months. And the retirement is simply going to be the agents on active duty divided by my average time on the job. And I will click OK there. I'm going to go back and look. Oh, it says 15 years on the job for those who are in the corrupt. So, average time on the job for corrupt agents. And it's going to be 15 years. I'll double click and open this up. So if it's 15 years, that should be 180 months. Typed in months and I'm okay. And then I'm going to go to my connector and connect these. And again, the stock is going to be connected to this outflow. I'm going to double click, and this is going to be corrupt agents divided by, because it's that time again. And that gives me people per time. The corrupt agents is in people. The average time is in months. So my units are right. So we're getting close. Let's go down. It says every month 0.1% of active agents are turned. So I'm going to call this fraction active agents turned. And so it's 1/10 of 1%. So if I'm doing this correct, that should be 0.01. No, that's 0.1%, so it's got to be 0.001. And again, because this is a fraction, my units would be dimensionless, and this is the fraction per month who are turned, so it's per that division sign, months. It should be good there. And here, what's going to happen, the active duty agents will be connected to becoming corrupt, because they're the ones becoming corrupt. It's flowing this way. And then the fraction turned per month will be connected to that. And because it's a fraction, it'll be multiplication. So I'm going to agents times that fraction. That should give me my units per month. And I have 2 left, and let's see what it says. Every year, so it's every year again, about 2% of agents are injured on the job. So fraction injured on the job. And I am just going to connect my fraction injured to my injured on the job. And it's going to be the way the flow is going. So it's going to be the active duty agents will go there. So this is a fraction. This will be multiplication again. Double click. The equation editor opens up. Agents times the fraction. Got the units. So this is 2% per year are washing out. So I got to calculate that into what it would be per month. I've done it for the fraction washing out. This was 2%, so I know it's 0.0016. 0.0016. Again, this is a fraction per month washing out, so it's going to be dimensionless per the time, months. And I'm good there. And the last one is recovering. And it says that the agents are off duty for 3 months on average who were injured. So I'll click on my converter, click down here, and I will type in, it's going to be, this is time injured. Oops, time injured. I'll click on my connector, and that will go to there, and I'm going to push the Option key and go. So I have 2 invalid equations still. I'll look at my recovering first, double click. It's just going to be the injured time, whoops, not times. It's going to be divided by, because it is a time injured, not a fraction. Oh, I'll go down here and click on division by time injured. Okay, and the time injured they said was going to be 3 months, so it's 3 in months. So the simulation model is, so there's 1 unit to define. I've just defined that. Everything's correct. I don't have any unit warnings here, so I'm in good shape. So the last thing I have to do is just add a graph to this. And I'm going to do this simply, so you shouldn't copy the graph in that assignment. I think I'll go back and change that. Let me drag this over here. I can move these things around any way I want. And then this will give me more room for my graph. So I'll make it as large. So I'm going to double click on the graph, and then it opens this window up on the left. You can see this plus sign. If I click on it, these are all the variables in the model, and I can now put these in. So let me start with my new agents in training. I'm just thinking of how it flows. I'm going to put these in. I'm going to go with plus, so this should be agents on active duty. I click on that. That 2 variables are in this graph right now. Then I'm going to go, let's go with my corrupt agents. Click on that, and I'm good. 1 more variable to add. I'm adding 1 more stock, and that's going to be the agents, injured agents in recovery. So you can see along this axis it's running out for 500 months, and the scales are sort of just, they will automatically adjust. I'm not going to do anything with those right now. The one thing I want to do is if I go down to the wrench in the bottom here and click on the wrench, what I would like to do is go and have a legend position, and I'm going to tell it to be on bottom. And I think I want to name this graph, and I'll use what was in the graph in the homework, DEA Agents Career Dynamics. And now what I'm going to do, so click, I'm going to go down to the simulate button. Everything seems to be right. And I'm simulating this. And it looks like these scales are actually, yeah, so this is right. It looks nothing like what's going on. I'm going to do one last thing. I know that some of these numbers are large and some are small, so I'm going to double click on the graph again. I'm going to go to my graph, and what I'll do is I'll put, let's see, I want to put some of these things on the right-hand side of the graph. So I have 2 axes. And then injured agent should be small. So I'm going to click on that, and I'll go down, and I'll tell it to be on the right axis. And then I will go to, let's see, what do I want to put anything else? What numbers would be small? Active duty agents should be very large. It's a small fraction who are getting corrupted, but man, they're staying in there for 15 years. So I'm thinking this should end up growing. And that new agents in training, I have 100 coming in. This is probably going to be relatively small, so I'll put that on the right axis also. So new agents in training, I'll put on the right axis. And this is what my graph is looking like now. And this is what you should get, something like this. So the blue line is going to be new agents in training is increasing to about 20,000. And let's go back in and check. I did put 83 in here. Yep, there are 83, and it's flowing out. So this is what your graph should look like. So that'll conclude this video, and I'll go in and make one more just to get you used to this on the terrorism, and that will be it. So if you have questions, feel free to contact me. The key to this is to get used to the stock and flows, putting in units, and starting to build these models, getting familiar with the software. I will talk to you soon. Thanks.